Welcome to Creative Connections 2. Today we have an exciting panel, and it has been sponsored by Startup Canada and TD, and we want to talk about the opportunities for entrepreneurship as a career. And specifically here we have an eclectic group of entrepreneurs who have been not only from underrepresented groups, but also growing their business and helping us to understand how it can be profitable as an opportunity and as a career. Thank you. I'd like to start off with our first gentleman, Carmine.
Yeah, thank you. My name is CARMINE MASTROPIERRO. I'm the marketing director at a software company in London. I run my own legal marketing academy where we sell online training to teach lawyers and law firms online marketing. And I run a personal brand too where I do marketing consulting and sell online courses.
Hi, my name is NEHA SINGLA. I'm a financial planner. I'm a financial planner with TD. I help families with financial planning, help them with protect what matters, leaving legacy, and help them with implementing tax-efficient strategies.
My name is Fatima Nasser. I'm currently a student at Brock University. I'm studying sociology and I plan on going to law school after I graduate. In terms of like entrepreneurship and that my interest in that is I tutor on the side as a side hustle. And I feel like that kind of expresses my entrepreneurship because I've always done it in high school on the side, but now I'm actually doing it for a profit. And I hope that it can grow and like my clientele as well and become bigger than what it is right now. And I've also always thought of opening my own law firm after I graduate from law school. So I'd love to learn more about entrepreneurship, how to open a business and go from there.
Hi, my name is PAULA HADDAD. I used to be an entrepreneur in São Paulo, Brazil for 11 years. I used to have my own company focusing accessibility projects. And after that, I changed my career for marketing and business analysis as I'm working here in Spark Innovations.
Hello, my name is Yang. I was born and raised in China, and I came to Niagara here about 20 years ago. I speak fluent Mandarin, Cantonese, and English, and now I'm a real estate agent. Before I became a real estate agent, last year I was in a corporate office working for in accounting and marketing for 14 years. And now we do lots of residential, commercial, pre-construction, and work with lots of builders. And my goal is to bring lots of Chinese residents come to Niagara to invest in here, especially the ones that don't speak English, and I can help them out and build a bridge from Niagara to other area. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I leave it to one of our eclectic authors and coach, amazing Mr. Ross Blaine.
Hi, my name's Ross Blaine, and when you look at my business card, it says one word on it, catalyst. And that's really what I want to be. I like working with people to help them get their ventures up and going, and I like featuring them. So like a catalyst, when I'm finished working with someone, no one will ever know I was there. All I've done is help them get to where they want to go more effectively. Not faster, but more effectively. So I'm looking forward to the questions. Carmine's got 11 of them.
11 questions. Whoa! And he starts off with having a traditional career versus entrepreneurship. Like, that's amazing. What's the difference? Right?
Yeah, I think that's a good place to start because with me personally, I have my job as a marketing director, but I run businesses on the side, so it's kind of getting best of both worlds. So I have a lot of experience with both, so I want to get everyone's kind of thoughts on, what's the difference for you between like a career and a business?
I would start off, it actually fits very well with what I do right now. I do have a career with TD where I work as a financial planner, but down the road, that's what I'm looking forward to, just have my own book of clients, which I manage in the way I want to. So it's like I kind of get the leadership, but then moving on, I want to grow. But there's so much difference where myself, I can plan it, I can be passionately putting my time onto it.
I feel like the biggest difference between working in a career and having your own business is working for someone, and it's the freedom that you get like from working for yourself by having your own business, basically, where you're not told what to do. And a lot of people find joy in that, and I feel like that's always been an end goal of mine, is to stop working for someone and rely on myself and have like people work for me kind of. So, and just grow from there.
The difference for me between have a career and be entrepreneur is that totally when you're an entrepreneur, you don't have a stable routine, and that provides you a lot of courage. So, but work hard and be determined. You have to be if you have a career, or if you have to be, or if you are entrepreneur. So the difference for me is that if you have a career, work for a company, you have more routine and more stable financial life.
And more
That's
consistent.
crucial. Yeah.
Yeah, so before I was real estate agent, as I was explaining, I was working in a corporation for 14 years and 9 to 5. So I feel you know what's going to happen. You know exactly what you have to do. So for you to do exactly the same job every day in and day out, if you're a person that you love routine, you don't really mind not to touch another area, that's fine. But for that, I feel like it was really restricted. But the good thing is, you know you're gonna work 8 hours. You're able to plan other activities, let's say with your friends and family. You know what to do with that, and then you know you have a stable income coming in. You got the benefit, especially if you work at a corporation. But when you work as entrepreneur, is so different. You don't know, like, you know, definitely more than 8 hours you want to be successful. You could be work 12 hours, 13 hours. You gotta you have to plan it, but you also have to accept sometimes spontaneous things happen. You gotta be ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
There are three things that I think need to be thought about. First of all, one of my clients is 5 generations old and they're hundreds of millions of dollars in business. Why are they successful? Why they are successful? Now that's entrepreneurial, isn't it? It started, but why are they successful? When every generation comes in, they do not allow that generation to be on the management team. Why? They force them and go out and work in the, as they call it, the outer world. Why? Because now they're not insular. Now they're getting tools and techniques that you only learned from TD Bank, right?
Yep.
You only learned a lot of the things that you did in your former career.
Yes.
So anybody who's going to be an entrepreneur should not jump out. It's like jumping out of an airplane without a parachute. You got to know a little bit about the techniques and the tools and everything. So having a corporate career to start you off does 3 things. 1, gives you tools that you never get before, because the big guys have the money to do it, right? And the time to do it. Number 2, it allows you to establish a lifestyle that you're either going to say, this is what I want to continue with, or a lifestyle that says, okay, I know what I need, what my basics are, because too often I had one entrepreneur just recently say, Ross, I'm so confused. I started my business and I thought I'd make $1 million immediately. He had a great marketplace, the wrong model. Had he done business before, he'd learned out, as you do in CARMINE, and how often do you model a market before you go into it?
Oh, months and months. Long
Thank you.
time.
And the third thing, and this is most important, it allows you to build up the reserves, the cash reserves, to be able to have your side hustle, to be able to move to your own private practice, to be able to become a lawyer and understand when you become a lawyer, guess what? You're going to work in a big law firm, right? That's where you're going to get to learn the techniques and the tools. All very important stuff.
I like what you said there. I'm going to jump in for a second, because one of the things that's important is you have to, as an entrepreneur, understand you cannot generate an income right away.
Exactly.
You have to have a mindset. So I'm going to jump into you and NEHA. Tell me a little bit of what you felt and how it went.
Yeah, you have to keep like a long-term mindset. You got to think about like months, years ahead, reverse engineer it too. So then you have that end goal, that end vision, and then I would plan it backwards, like step by step, what you have to do. But exactly to your point, you can't generate profit immediately. The next day when you start a business, you got to be very patient. I think that's like one of the biggest successful traits of an entrepreneur is being patient.
Yep. I totally agree. And in what you said, I'm just going to jump on his point that you need that resources, you need that mindset up, you need that passion, and you would know that when you're working in that,
Yes.
and then you have your own line of doing that, you know.
The biggest killer, though, of entrepreneurial ventures is the person who jumps in and their ego gets in play and they go, you know what? I've created this thing and it's the way, and you know what? Everybody's going to follow. Wrong. Okay, you need to know how to do the market research. What kind of a lawyer are you going to become? Are you going to be doing criminal law? Are you going to be doing immigration law? Are you going to be doing family law? And understanding where your passion is, but you've got to get the experience in business to do it.
Exactly.
And when you start an entrepreneurial venture, do not think it'll be successful. Bill Gates, Stephen Jobs, took 7 years to get there.
Can I just add one thing?
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
feel when we start up, when we have some income, a lot of people that they start using as a vacation or buying stuff, I feel a big chunk of it, you need to invest back in your business instead.
That's perfect, because it leads into the next question that we were talking
Okay.
about earlier. No, it's fantastic, because it's how do you remain successful as you go through this difficult time of growing your business, right? And do you stick to the business plan? Do you stick, how you organize? Maybe you can tell us when you're doing the real estate, you must always have mindset that I must be on track with my
So
organization.
I feel whenever, so you can't really plan how many you could plan, you want to, let's say, sell 10 houses to be able to do this, but sometimes, especially a market like this, it's unpredictable. So I would, at startup, you save money to prepare that 1 year you're not going to make any income. But as I'm starting selling more houses, but I'll put, let's say, like 80% of it, like back into investing to my business, like marketing, photographer, like learning, continuing educations, networking, you know, visiting customers and clients, bring them to lunch, just a lot of different things that I have to reinvest in my business to be able to move on to my next goal.
You have to invest to
Paula,
grow.
Reinvest into
What do you
it.
think, Paula? I mean,
I
that's
think
amazing.
that all of this is very important, but the most important is to understand what the marketing haven't done until now that you can do differently. What people need and they want, they don't have it yet, and you try to develop strategy to achieve that. Because you have two things to be entrepreneur. Or you're gonna do something that it's completely different that people have been doing until now, or you're gonna do better the same, or you reply the same thing doing better than they do. So that's the two options you have, and that is related about what you want to do. You have to identify this first, because if you don't have this clear, you can be very passionate, but you keep going, and without understand where it's gonna end, where you really want to achieve. So you have to identify if you want to develop something that nobody have developed yet, or you want to do better something that already exists, but you can do with better and things that they haven't done. That's gonna provide you the light of the tunnel. Because if you don't have that, you keep running, spending money without knowing, oh my God, where I'm going, right? So that's.
I would love to add on, because that's my forte, that's all I do is financial planning. I would like to talk on 4 pillars along which we build our wealth. The first is basically building net worth. That's when you, like you said, you are doing investment management, you're managing your credit, you are not being crazy, and you said you have money buying cars and just buying money off the credit. That's the first pillar. The second pillar is basically implementing tax efficient strategies. Yes, you have a big successful career, you have lots of money, but then again, what to do? Most of it's going to go to your taxes if you're not smart enough to do that. The third pillar is basically protecting what matters. And actually that's the biggest and most important pillar, because you are protecting the insurance, the wills, the power of attorneys. You never know what's going to happen to you next. So protecting what matters, that's really, really important. The last pillar is basically leaving the legacy. You have what you protected, and you want to give it, you want to pass it on to your kids. Even the career, sometimes we want it to pass on to our kids. So that's the last pillar, and I feel like that's really important.
And I think throughout all of that, entrepreneurship, doing the finance, doing your marketing, staying organized, a really important thing is having a good support network. Being around, other entrepreneurs, hard-minded or, like-minded people that are positive, that encourage you. So what are your thoughts on that?
What do you think, Ross? Because remember what they're saying, investing in your business and handling your financials are important.
There's an interesting saying in the new book that's coming out.
We have to talk about that.
No, the next one.
Oh, the next one. There's another one.
And it's called Rules, and there are 52 rules in it that if you practice one a week for a year, you will improve your capabilities. Rule number 3 is it's not what you know, and it's not who you know, it's how you use those 2 things to get to your goal.
Beautiful.
And so the answer is yes, you need mentors, you need advisors, you need people, and this is the biggest part though, that you will listen to when they say, what if? We just had it today with your one project where I said, Dino, what if you did it this way? And you went, never thought of that.
I never thought of that. You're right.
Okay, and that's the big thing. So many entrepreneurs get stuck in, I am going to deliver this and I'm going to deliver it that way. They don't think about change, okay? The more a person has to change what they do, the least likely they are to take it on.
Yep.
Okay, so talking to mentors, talking to advisors, talking to your marketplace becomes a very important tool, because all of a sudden, whatever you're offering is going to have the features and functions that they can take on most easily. So yes, Carmine, you gotta build a network.
For sure.
You've gotta talk to people, and you've gotta be unafraid to get the answers.
I'd love to hear from Fatima as a student and then back to Neha, because this is interesting. We get a good complimentary answer here.
Yeah, I feel like seeking guidance is one of the most important things, even as a student. Like, I find students hesitant to ask their teachers or their assistants for any guidance, but when they do, they get the outcome that they want, and I feel like that same mentality applies to business and being an entrepreneur. So it's not hesitating to seek help when you need it, and that doesn't mean that you're a failure in any way or that you're not performing the way you should be, so seeking guidance is definitely very important.
Yes.
Paula, Ying, anything to add?
What I add is that for you have guidance, you have to understand what you want to be, because it gets some time and mature to understand what you want to be every day. Because guidance, it has to start inside, and after you're gonna find groups and people that can help you to move forward. But you have to identify who you are first, what you want, and that takes time. It's hard because you have to admit your weakness. You have to admit what your strongness, and the weakness is very important, and especially when you commit mistakes, because you learn from that. So some people hire their mistakes, and they shouldn't be, because everybody make mistakes, and we learn from the mistakes. We don't learn from just good things. Unfortunately, we don't do that. We learn from the bad things. We learn from our mistakes. So guidance start, in my opinion, the experience that, of course, everybody has different stories, but guidance start and about when you feel scared and when you feel concerned, oh my God, what I did and what I can do tomorrow better than I did yesterday. That's the guidance start there.
Can I jump into something? Because you're on the right track. When you're looking for a mentor, when you're looking for someone to be your advisor, don't look for the person who's going to brag about their successes. You want them to talk to you about where they have gone awry, because knowing that is going to give you the questions you need to ask to improve.
Maybe like ask questions like, through your career, tell me your failure, so that I can learn as well, right? Not just the success story, but more about where do you do wrong, how do you handle that problem, how do you move forward.
Yeah, failures and successes, but on top of that, I would say that everyone is different. Everyone, you will see 10 people doing marketing, but then there is one who's just thinking differently, thinking out of the box, making, and then that's where you can have that support. That's where you can learn, grow, because with this technology moving, with the science and everything, every day something is changing, and we all don't know everything. So it's like being that part of the group where we learn from each other, you know.
Interesting side though to that is that when you in the book you see it, we have a actual EQ study. Have you done it yet, Carmine?
I don't think so, no.
Okay. The idea of understanding your emotional intelligence is going to tell you about your resilience and your tenacity, because you need those two things to get results, right? But when you understand where you're weak, okay, you can then go to people and say, can you come and help me with this? Because you can now say, this is where I want to go, and I don't have that skill. Please help me.
Exactly.
And then you can develop the empathy that's needed to be able to build good communications around the project and bring in the stakeholders you need. So it's a multi thing. Try that
Yeah, self-awareness is really big. Like knowing your strengths, your weaknesses. Even when I started my law firm marketing agency, my co-founder and I'm really good on the marketing and advertising side, but he's amazing with technology, building websites and development. But he's weak in marketing and vice versa. So it's like the perfect kind of puzzle piece where I'm good at something, he's not so good at it, but what he excels at, I'm kind of weak at too. But it took that self-awareness for both of us to kind of realize like, hey, I'm good at this, I'll do this, and you're good at that, so focus on that. But it's all self-awareness, really.
So I'm hearing things like, I'm taking mental notes here, commitment and focus is important. We've talked about that. We've talked about having a good support network. What else? We've talked about being creative and thinking outside of the box and complementary services. Anything that we've missed there that, just jump in. This is amazing, just that little recipe there.
I saw Carmen had question number 8.
Yes.
What is it?
Worrying about what other people think. Because that's a big thing in business when you're starting a business.
Oh, right, my
You know.
reputation. Who am I?
Exactly. Or you might even have family and friends that say, oh, maybe you shouldn't start the business, or you should do X, Y, Z. So it's really important to kind of have that resilience and just do what your self-awareness tells you.
My most recent client, 2 things, or 3 actually. Number 1, he started a really good business idea, but he didn't go out and talk to the constituents, the stakeholders he needed. Then the second thing he thought was, I'm really going to show them I'm successful immediately. And he went out and bought a $110,000 orange Corvette, which he now has sold because he needs it for the money for the business, right?
Right.
And the third thing, he came in and he said, oh, my father and my brother-in-law and everybody is saying, you can't do this or you're not going to do this well. And they're all chiming in with ideas that's throwing him totally off course. He finally even told him, and this is terrible, I said, you've got one staff member that has to go because he is being the devil's advocate. Okay, and he's throwing you off focus. They finally had to have to part ways. And he called me up the other day and he said, my life is so much better because now I can keep focusing on the model. I don't have anybody challenging me. And I can go ahead. So do not worry about what people say.
Yeah, and to add to that, like once I decided to go to law school and make that decision, I got a lot of negative feedback. Like, are you sure? What if you don't get accepted? Are you sure you can handle all the workload? Do you read and do you write? Like to that extent. And then I didn't start to get taken seriously until I started studying for the LSAT. And then when my parents even saw me studying for the LSAT, then they're like, okay, they'll tell people that, okay, she wants to be a lawyer, or, she wants to go to law school. And I even had, like, my sister tell me, do you have a plan B? Like, have you ever thought of just doing your master's, continuing school, because she thought I couldn't get into law school, or maybe that I don't have the potential to do that. But I know myself, I know that I'm determined, I know I have good work ethic, and that when I want to reach a goal, I'll reach it because of my work ethic. And it just doesn't always come down to intelligence, you know. Like you can work hard and you can get to where you want to be. You don't have to be so
Anybody can achieve.
Yeah.
Okay. One real good story. Okay, in high school, grade 9, I was told that I should quit as soon as I turned 16 and drive a garbage truck. Okay? It's not the case of when you find what you're passionate about, when you understand what you're doing, like your law, okay, and you can tell people what you're doing and the plan. We talked about plan briefly. Okay, if you've got a plan, then people can buy into it. But if it's just a dream, no, it doesn't have any reality.
No, you're right, you're right.
I'll actually add on to that what we are talking about, plan A, plan B. For myself, I'm actually master's in physics. I've always wanted to be a teacher. And the reason I came to Canada was that I came here as a teacher. That was my skill. And like but it's finding out what you're passionate about, right? So I did that. I did taught grade 11, grade 12 kids. I love that. But again, I didn't find that thing, you know, like that passion which I had, which I do right now. So again, I did get really hard pushback from my parents. What are you doing? Like, look at teachers, like you are being totally different. But I'm like, no, I love that, what I do right now. So again, go towards your passion, right?
That's amazing. So Carmine, even in some of the, as we said, 11 good questions here, and I'll let you finish the last 3, but I just want to ask a question as, you've all been part of, and I hate to call it an underrepresented group, but you've got challenges. And how do you tell other ladies and gents and other folks that want to get into this career, whether they're the youth, the millennials, the seniors, how do you get over the fear of, can I be an entrepreneur?
Can I jump in? You know what fear is? You know what fear is? False expectations appearing real. You manifest it in your brain, and then those people who walk up to you and say, Carmine, what are you thinking about? You've got this great job with this marketing business. Why do you have a side hustle? And you go, oh, right?
Yep, exactly.
And fear, false expectations appearing real. When someone does that, when someone throws up that red flag, do one thing. And that is say, oh, there's a red flag. Now I have to determine, do I have the willpower and the resources to keep plunging on and the right plan in place? Do I have to look at another way of getting to my target, turning right? Or do I turn left and abandon it? Which we talked about this morning, didn't we?
That's right, we did.
And the answer is when somebody says something to you that creates fear, see it as the adrenaline to determine whether there's another action. That's again, come back full circle, when you get the advisors, when you get the people who are not friends and family, but the people who will tell you exactly what they think, you'll succeed. Sorry.
No, that's good. I just want to know about the, as my dad used to call it, intestinal fortitude to try a business. So please jump in. I'd love to hear.
Because when you talk about fear and when we talk about what other people think, I think there is a relation between that. Sometimes you fear about doing something because what other people think of you. And then, so for example, in your story, as your friend that buying something, but you to impress some people that you don't even like, right? Like they don't like you and you don't like them, and you just say, wow, I just want to show them that I am successful. And at the end, it just hurts your own business. So for me, like one thing to get over fear was, so for example, social media, now it's just so popular. We need to use that tool to broadcast ourselves and our business a lot. So when I do live and everything, and I just look at the screen and just, don't worry about what other people think, because 95% of people, they don't like you no matter what you do. Because you're trying to be authentic and they jealous, or even like parents, they think, oh no, like you can't do that. But at the end of the day, it's like there's only 5% people who will love you for who you are, and that's enough. We have so many people in the world, so just think about that 5% and just be yourself, and then just keep focusing on your goal.
Can I throw in a little measure? Because if you can't measure,
Right.
you can't manage. Here's a really key phrase for that. If someone walks up to you and you're talking to them about an idea and they go, yes, but, you have one of two choices. You either say, I'm not listening to you because they are trying to prove that they know more,
Yeah.
okay? Or you come to them and say, you either are part of the solution or you're part of the problem. A yes, but is no. If the person walks up to you though and says, yes, Aunt Fatima, when you get there, I'll be able to support you, or yes, Aunt Fatima, have you thought about this idea? You're then getting people who are encouragers. We don't have enough encouragers. We've got a lot of naysayers in this world, don't we?
We do
And I
negative
feel like,
people.
yeah, I feel like that destructs your confidence.
Yep.
It does.
And you need confidence to move on, you know.
Yep.
But once you do have that confidence, and you show it, then I feel like that also helps shuts down people's negativity towards you, you know, because they see that you're confident in what you're doing, you believe in yourself, and I think that's all that matters. If you know yourself and you believe enough in yourself, then what they say and the negative input that they have to say about you, then just shut it out, like you said. Just shut
Absolutely.
it out.
God.
That's amazing.
So,
It all comes to, again, self-awareness.
Yeah.
Like we started there, and I think it all comes to
Comes right back
self-awareness.
full circle.
Exactly. Like you just need to be self-aware about you. You are gonna get lots of that, but again, you should know. Like yes, like I'm passionate. I know what I'm doing, and
hold your
confident.
ground. Hold your ground.
Exactly.
You
just
know,
hold
I would
your
like to
ground.
say set your mind to purpose.
Exactly.
That's
But
amazing.
you need to define that purpose.
Yeah.
You need to define, and you and I talked about this the other day, you need to define what your brand value is. I started out by saying I'm a catalyst, right? What do? I help people get their businesses ahead. I help them move things forward. And I don't want to be known to be part of that. I want them to take the credit. Brand value, that's why you get involved. Brand value for your business will be to make those organizations you work with get more people coming to them,
Exactly.
more qualified people coming to them. Not just more people, but more qualified people. So, understanding your brand value and what you have. On your case, Ying, it's a case of you said it, you're bringing Chinese to Niagara Falls, which will help fill out the workforce, will help grow the community, will help make it more diverse, right?
Yes.
And all of a sudden, this is a good thing for Niagara Falls, but you know your value. You're targeting one audience, you know what to say to them, you know how to set them up.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm looking at Carmine because we've covered two there. I think the learning and improving your skills is still something I'd love to touch upon. And then, yeah, that's an important one. And then the final one is the turning expertise into passion. You want to kick us off with those?
Yeah, sure, because we touched on like outsourcing tasks you aren't good at, hiring, delegating, that's really important, but you still have to learn the skills at some point. Like I like reading, taking online courses, having a mentor, like you said, is amazing, networking, having a good, support group. So how does everyone like to kind of learn new skills in business and their career?
I actually completely agree with that. Like you were talking about branding yourself. I never say when I have to talk about my career, I'm best what I do. I always say I'm better, because if you say best, that means that you're not growing. If you're better, that means that there's always more. There's always more to learn. There's always room to grow. There's always room to just, again, with the changing world as well. And if suppose I'm at this and now the next generation wouldn't even be on the same page as me, you have to keep growing. So, yeah.
The thing is that I think skills is related with passion and fear. Because if you let the fear be bigger than you will not be able to identify what skills you have. And if you have a lot of passion, you'll not identify your skills either. Because you can be passionate about many things.
Yeah.
So the skills is related, first of all, to identify your skills, you have to clean up a little bit the cloud of this fear around you and what people think that comes from many, many ways. And also can come from inconsistency. Some people say things and they do another completely things that they say. And that's confuse you. That's confusing to identify which skills you have, because you don't know. So the skills has many steps. First of all, you have the courage to clean up the cloud of the fear around you, clean the group that doesn't provide you consistent in what they say and what they do. And after, clean up a little bit your passion. Because if you are passionate about many things, you cannot identify with the skills specifically you have, because you can have many. But which skills is practical for you? That's the main skills that can be practical for you, for the life you have, for the lifestyle you have. And that's the main point for the skill.
Can I jump in, because there's one thing that I think is absolutely important. You get a mentor, it helps you learn, it helps you think. A mentor helps you think. But more importantly, any financial world, ever heard of a guy by the name of Warren Buffett? Mm-hmm. How about Charlie Munger?
No.
Not so much.
Warren Buffett wouldn't be where he is without Charlie Munger. In my new book, you'll see that he comes up a lot of times. Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett and Bill Gates all spend their time learning, reading, but they have a discipline. Mm-hmm. Why? Because when someone comes to you with that thing that goes, oh my God, am I doing the right thing? If you learn, you're going to be able to deal with it. It's going to give you the tools. Every entrepreneur, and it drives me nuts, just so you know, it drives me really nuts. Well, I don't have time to learn, I only have time to do what I'm going to do. And the truth of the matter is, no. There's as simple as going in, there's a program called Blinkist, I think I've told you about it. Yeah. Okay, which takes books and condenses them down into about 12 to 15 minute sessions. It's not the best way to learn, but it's an effective learning. So if you set a discipline in place to learn every day, you're going to be more and more successful. You're going into the law. How much time are you going to spend in the law library?
Yeah, for sure. A lot,
You know,
yeah.
and what's the law all about? It's two things. It's a competitive sport, isn't it, Dino?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, lawyers are there for one reason only, to get their client the best deal possible. Mm-hmm. Okay, and secondly, they're looking to change the torts that are already there, the precedents that are already set. Mm-hmm. And you only do that by learning. Then once you start to learn, you can start to say, what if we did it this way? And that gives you the strength to be able to talk to people.
This has been amazing. We're getting close to the end of our session, but I wanted to leave the floor open, starting with the team here, with Carmine, and going around the table. One last few little tidbits that could help our entrepreneurs think about this as a career path.
Can I just add
yes,
something? So when we're talking about learning, continuing educations, so we obviously have lots to learn, like for example, like marketing skill, right? And then public speaking skill, accounting, everything. But I think we all need to know that. But then are we gonna spend all our time, let's say us spend our time doing photos or doing marketing? Probably that could be, in the future when you make a little bit more money, you can give some expertise to do that. But I think very, very important skill for entrepreneur have is people skill. Because no matter you're selling a product or you're selling a service, you're dealing with people. So for example, you go to Best Buy, you're going to buy a laptop. So no matter what, so let's say two salesperson, one salesperson knows everything about that laptop, and one person wants to get to know you. Hey, what kind of product you're looking for? Why are you searching for this kind of product? And communicate with you and ask you guys back and forth, which one will you buy from? Right? So
Good
I think
point.
people skill is the most important one that, in my opinion. So what do you guys think?
I think that's true. I would add, you have to be able to work with and through individuals to accomplish your objectives. And best ways with people skills.
Yeah, I agree with you 90%.
Okay.
Okay, but
2% factor.
if you don't know what to say to the people to engage them,
Yeah.
then all the charisma in the world, and I've had some very charismatic clients, okay, only leads to one thing: disaster.
So you have to know your business.
You have to
your
know
product.
what you
Yes.
want. You have to know
Yeah.
what you need from the people to do it. I told you the last time we talked about Wayne Gretzky and
Yeah.
Mark Messier. You need to know what your objectives are and what you're going to do. If you don't do that,
Good point.
okay, and then you can't ask the most important thing, the why questions around.
Yeah.
Why do you think I should do this? Why should I get involved in this marketplace? Why should I look at putting my money into this particular financial thing? Why should I do corporate law versus some other kind of law? Why should I be an entrepreneur in Canada? Right?
So why should I be in the real estate industry?
Well, we all, she and I already did the why.
Yeah.
We filled that whiteboard behind her the
Yeah.
other day.
So I think I should say, except that you knowing the product they're selling, the people skill is also very important. You know, like prior.
Right,
already.
right.
Yeah, because what you
To get the customer in, right?
Because what you're also trying to say is that doesn't matter how much knowledge you have. If you don't have skill
People
to
skill.
deal with people and
Did I
to
mention that?
attach their attention and to identify what they need, just the knowledge can be a little bit useful to achieve the sales you want to
Yeah.
achieve.
True. True.
So you need both.
So Fatima, your thoughts?
I was gonna say that for sure it can't just be all knowledge and no people skills, because how are you gonna communicate your knowledge to those people? So and because of that, I feel like especially as a student, I always see students either so like into their books or so just open and social and but having both is a gem, honestly, because I feel like that's key, because you need to be able to communicate your knowledge to your client.
I think it goes side by side, like you said, 100%. I agree, because if you're passionate about something, that's gonna go to another person 100%. They're gonna see that you know your thing. If I'm talking about investments, and if I talk to you about, okay, this is this, you'll know that, oh, she knows what she's talking about. And then again, having that communication skill to show your passion to that person and building that trust,
Yeah.
that's cherry on the top, for sure.
Carmine?
Yeah, no, I agree. It's definitely, like in my world, for example, when I'm doing marketing, you need to be very good at like the marketing itself, advertising, operations, tech, and all those things. But a lot of it's actually having the presentations ready for the client, communicating the results, everything you're doing. So most of it's actually people skills most of the time.
Amazing. You've got a closing piece of information that's valuable. I would like you to share it before we have the closing.
We're talking
discussion.
about people who want to become entrepreneurs, and we're talking about how do they become successful. This is not a plug, but after studying 1,000 businesses a number of years ago, we actually came up with, in the book, I don't know if you can see it, a roadmap. There are 3 plans that you need to put in place. Okay, you need to put in a technology plan, but you need to understand what that technology is going to do, right? Then the next thing you need to do is put in place the business plan. The technology plan drives the business plan because you know the marketplace. Understanding what the technologies are, the features and functions. And once you do that, then you get the sales plan. And inside the book, if you ever get a chance to look at it, it's there, and we've actually got a course coming up on it, just so you know.
Thank you. That's very, very good. First of all, I want to make sure I have an interesting plug here because it's important. Startup Canada, the communities that we have. Please go to the website. You'll see there's many communities throughout Canada that we can connect with. There's help there. I want to thank TD Canada, the bank, because they've helped us with this, and Startup Canada. And here at Startup Niagara, I have been honored to have this group here, along with our author, Ross Blaine. I just want to thank everyone, and I hope we've all learned something from this, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Each and every one of you are representing what Canada is becoming, and each and every one of you will become the drivers to making us successful. You're our raw resource that we need to grow and build the GDP. Niagara region, doesn't matter wherever. Build the resource of the people who want to come here and flourish.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.